Boy, it's a big hello and goodbye.
Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the March 10th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. Thank you for joining us on RamView. I'm Joe Terosian. I've been a sports writer for plus 20 years, currently contributing to Mid-Valley Sports. I write books, and I do RamView thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law. And today is a big day, big day. So I see some questions piling up real quick. Let me just get to my opening rant real quick, and then we'll look at the questions coming in, and we'll break down all the stuff the Rams have done. Essentially, what the Rams have done is they've sewn up most of their pressing needs, right? Stafford's back, Alaric Jackson's back, even Atwell's back. Devontae Adams is in the fold, and Poona Ford turns out to be the toilet clogger that the Rams were looking for as an upgrade over Bobby Brown. The Rams will be drafting this year for depth pieces, and that's what they're looking at because most of their needs have been met. A trade back has been discussed. Makes sense. All the mock drafts have been blown out of the water by the Rams' actions up to now. I know people are pressing for a corner, so just to get a head start on that one, the Rams haven't drafted a corner in the first round since they took Ty Hill, number 15 overall in 2006 out of Clemson. They took Janoris Jenkins, 39th overall in 2012. That's during the Snead era. LaMarcus Joyner, kind of a slash safety slot corner guy, 41st overall. David Long out of Michigan in 2019, 79th overall. Robert Rochelle, 130th overall in 2021. And then Kobe Durant at 142 and Darian Kendrick in 2022. And they've probably had the most success with them, although LaMarcus had a nice run. And, of course, Janoris Jenkins did. But in recent years, those are the ones. And Trey Tomlinson's already gone. So think about it. Would the Rams actually spend draft capital at number 26 on a cornerback that maybe they can get a little further back? Now they looking at maybe a backup tackle, off-ball linebacker, which would be a surprise. And then, of course, news just broke. I kind of put the prep to bed about 10 minutes ago. And, about 30 minutes ago I did. And then I got the news that Michael Hoyt signed, 3 for 24 in Buffalo. And that kind of shook things up a little bit. And part of my talk today, part of my sharing today, is that with Michael Hoyt gone and Brennan Jackson, Nick Hampton, none of those guys really standing out, I think the Rams are in the market again for an edge player. I really do. They're going to need some other guy. And Hampton and Jackson so far have not showed out to take that spot. And interestingly enough, I'm sure he's dirt cheap. Von Miller was put into the street today by the Bills. So, all right, questions have come in, and you guys are awesome. USA Expat, great way to start the week, Reverend Joe. It is a great week. It's a great day. I was a little late to the fold because I kept looking at things, but we're here. Michael DeGrady, Pastor Joe, there's a lot to talk about with the Rams today, a ton to talk about. Probably gathering secret intel right now. No secret intel that you guys don't know, but just fascinating stuff. The Hoyt one got me just before going on the air. The Hoyt one threw me off. Rams filled their need at wide receiver, DT, backup center, backup quarterback. Good day. Hey, did the Coleman Shelton deal officially go through? Did we officially bring back Coleman Shelton? ESG, Rams are more active and free agency this year than last year, which means they are all in. Absolutely. Payo time up in Canada. Hey, man, good show you got the other day. Snead is cooking a free agent feast. Yeah, and here's the thing. Since Payo, you were with us, here's the thing that's kind of striking me is that, everyone says the Rams whiff a lot on free agents. And for the most part, they do. But look at the contracts they're signing and look at the guaranteed money. There's nothing in these contracts that are going to paralyze the Rams for the next 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. Literally, most of these deals, if not all of them, are like, you suck, you're gone, right? We'll move on. And so that's pretty good. Let's see, Bill, the Rams should go after a tight end next. That's going to be a topic of huge conversation. Brian Smith, the Niners and Seahawks are imploding. Seahawks, of course, picked up Sam Darnold. And that's the one that cracks me up. Does Sam Darnold scare you as a Ram fan? I was never scared of Geno Smith. I'm not scared of Sam Darnold. And he doesn't have Addison, and he doesn't have Justin Jefferson. All he's got is JSN there in Seattle because they moved off of Lockett and they moved off Metcalf. Yeah, that one didn't bother me at all. Brian Smith, Bill, draft maybe for tight end. Yep, that's what's going to be in the mix. A lot of people are talking about that. Tim Burns, keeping Jimmy G was imperative. He threw to Adams with the Raiders. I think Jimmy G was absolutely imperative. Absolutely. Brian Smith, I'm happy Hunter Long is gone. Opens up space in that tight end room. ESG, Puna, 5'11", 300 pounds, toilet clogger, coming off his best year in the NFL. I got a text from my former roommate, actually Tim Peterson at Mid-Valley Sports, texted me, and I had to pull over for a second because I didn't think Puna was going to get away from the Chargers. I just didn't. But, of course, the Spanoses run the Chargers, right? That's what happens. Payo time. Question, Hoyt leaving surprised you at all? I mean, he got paid, and I get why he went to the Bills to be closer to family in Canada, but thought he would be back. I had a feeling I really wanted him back, but he was due for a payday. It was so much fun watching him develop as an undrafted free agent out of Brown. And, his timing was now. He actually became one of my favorite Rams. And I always felt bad for him because Raheem that last year in 2023 kept putting him in coverage. And Shula really limited those things in 2024. I just hope the Bills treat him right. And, I am bummed that he's gone. I'm surprised he got 8 rocks. Is it 3 for 24? I think he got 3 for 24. I am surprised he got that much. Let's see. Rams should still grab Golden. That's the wide receiver, Matthew Golden. They're at 26. Adam Stafford on 2-year deals. Reload now. Interesting thing about that wide receiver room, because we were all out on Atwell. 10 rocks says, oh, no, Atwell's back, and Atwell's going to play at 10 rocks. Devontae Adams comes in. Jordan Whittington, they're high on. And, of course, there's Puka. And there's just no room right now because I had a little conversation with someone. There's no room for bringing a Demarcus Robinson back. Even if he didn't have a DUI that he was dealing with, there's no room to bring him back. I could see the Rams drafting a receiver. I just don't see them staying at 26 to do it. That's what makes me interested there. Brian Smith, Puna was always tough with the Sea Chickens. And then he had that bad year in Buffalo, and he really bounced back last year. USA expat. The Rams have had success converting safeties to linebackers, i.e. Nick Emanouari out of South Carolina, 6'3", 220. Yeah, those heavy safeties, right? We used to talk about that a lot on the show. Heavy safeties are quite a bit what the Rams have done in the past. Brian Smith, Puna has a nasty streak. I hope so. Paul Richardson, great Paul. Thank you for clicking on this offseason getting interesting. Brian Smith, no Andre Greenlaw. If he's thug, I didn't know if he was a thug. My thing is, if he comes cheap, wants to settle a score, and is ready to play, I'll take a look at him. Steve Ramirez, I trade 26 for a 30 to 40 range and 60 to 65. Then probably take a tackle with the first pick. I have no problem with them taking a tackle someplace towards the back of the first 100. I don't want to see a tackle at 26. I just don't. Let's see. Tim Burns, are you worried about Ford being a bit short? You know what I like about it? He's 5'11", 310. So he's going to have some leverage, right? Some of those guys that come in, we like Deion Walker a lot from Kentucky, the 6'6", 345 guy. One of my things about that is I want him knocking down passes. But he's having a hard time at 6'6", keeping leverage where Puna is built lower, a la Aaron Donald. Payo time. Friendly reminder, hit that like button. I will, man. I'll hit your like button. You hit mine, I'll hit yours. Brian Smith, I stand with Canada. Payo time. There you go. Payo does a great show. Payo's a lot of fun. Tim Burns. Shelton looks like he is back. Okay. Michael Negretti, Puna Ford is the toilet clogger we need. He constipates the run game. Boom. Payo time. Thanks, Brian. Payo time. Agree with these contracts, Joe. Payo time. Thank you. Brian Smith giving Payo. Love what the Seahawks are doing. Ha. Yeah, we all are. The Rams are able to get good short contract deals because players are willing to take a cut to come to the Rams and possibly win a Super Bowl. I agree with you. I think that's Devontae Adams is coming for 26 rocks guaranteed. That's the number. It's not 2 years at 46, which causes you to think 23 a year. It's 26 guaranteed over 2 years. And literally, if he goes Allen Robinson on us, I don't expect him to do that. If he goes Allen Robinson on us, we're out in 1 year. Time to move on. So, yeah, these are great contracts. I also think that the frenzy in free agency that we're seeing, and I'll let someone correct me. I'll let any of you guys out there correct me. Some of the frenzy of what we're seeing is, I think it's demonstrating the doubts people have about this particular draft class. That's what I'm thinking, is that why am I going to roll the dice in the first round or second round on some of these guys that are going to cost me some money when I can take a free agent is proven? And that's my sense of it. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Tim Burns, the deals are looking like they are seeing a 2-year window. 1 year for Jimmy G suggests we are grabbing a quarterback for sure. And I'm sure with that too is that Jimmy G wants to keep his options open, right? I think he just wants to keep his options open. Someone out there is bound to need a quarterback like him who's got experience, and he'll be healthy. Let's see. Brian Smith, Puna is an NFL player. Obviously, his height doesn't matter. Well, it is a big deal in one sense, but I understand what you're saying. Take it easy on Tim, Mr. Smith. Bill, Cup is the domino to fall. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. But I could just see the energy in our feed here is that everyone's bummed about Cup, but everyone's excited about tomorrow. Payo time. Yeah, he got 3 for 24. Speaking of Hoyt, I have friends that went to high school with Hoyt. Buffalo was like 1 hour away from where he grew up in Canada. Did he grow up in Toronto? Last time I was in Canada, I was Toronto, and it was years ago, and I saw the Niagara Falls from the Canadian side, which was pretty cool. I also did the Niagara River, did the jet boats there, the rapids. I got Canada a little bit there, Paya. Manny Correa's in the house. What's up? Tim Burns, you can hide height issues with men around them. How it fits the Rams is a question. Okay, Tim Burns. Manuel Correa, I've been pounding the table for Nick Emanawari. Okay, I guess we got to do a deeper dive on Nick. Brian Smith. Oh, geez, Correa is here now. There we go. Tim Burns. Payo time. This might be too specific, but do you think the Rams D-line is ready to face and get the Eagles O-line on a bad day at the office? I've had this conversation, I think, with maybe it's been right here. Saquon Barkley hit 2 home runs in the playoff game, and we were still right there ready to win it. The Hurts one shouldn't have happened. The home run that he hit on the ground. He hit 2 home runs. You take away those home runs, and his numbers are gone. His numbers are very pedestrian against the Rams. There were just moments there where they broke down. I think a more mature, a more experienced Omar Spates. I think a more disciplined Verse and Young that we saw on the edges. I don't think those things happen, but I do think I liked Bobby Brown. I did. I really liked Bobby Brown. I was hoping they bring him back. Puna's an upgrade. I still want to see another DT drafted somewhere, somewhere 127 or earlier, wherever that 4th round pick is, just for a rotational piece. Tyler Davis is looking good. And just have those rotational pieces along the line. No one's Larry Brooks and Merlin Olsen anymore. They're not playing all 70 snaps at DT. They're rotating guys in. So looking forward to that. That's what I think. I think the Rams could get the Eagles. I think these moves the Rams made on paper puts them with the Eagles. The Eagles have lost Josh Sweat. They've lost Isaiah Rodgers. They've lost a few guys to free agency. They just lost Milton Williams today. Milton Williams was the guy that Bo Limmer had his eyes on, we know, when Jalen Carter came in. So they're looking to restructure a few things. They also just traded Kenny Pickett for DTR. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Manny, Brian, everyone's saying hi. Let's see. Let's see. Brian and okay. Brian and Tim are going to go duke it out pay-per-view. Payo time. Hoyt is from a suburb of Toronto. Yes, haha. You got Canada. Yeah. I like the corned beef in Canada. Bill Shelton could be our starting center next year. Oh, I hope not. Bill, I know you put that out there. Shelton's back in the fold. I don't mind Shelton as a backup. Maybe putting Dylan McMahon back on the practice squad. But I really want to see Bo Limmer improve, because if Shelton takes over, that tells us that we saw peak Bo Limmer, and I'm hoping we haven't seen peak Bo Limmer. Shelton's going to be a great depth piece, right? Because he can play some guard too. But yeah, I would really be upset if Shelton ended up being our starting center today. Let's see. Brian Smith, Manny Korea, what obscure draft picks do you have for us today? Manny, I sent you my email. Send them to me. Let's see. Anyone from Slippery Rock? Okay, Brian's feeling cantankerous today. ESG, the Eagles game was the 2 fumbles and the 2 home runs. Hopefully having Puna will prevent and at least contain. I agree. And you go back to that Eagles game, really, with all that said that you said there, ESG, came down to 14 yards, right? Came down to 14 yards and a missed assignment, right? That was it. Let's see. Okay. Take it easy on Tim there, Mr. Smith. Guys, get along. I got to go. Keep up the great content, Joe. God bless, brother. Collab soon. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, Pale. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone. Tim is taking it easy on you. His pastor's forum. Okay. Brian Smith. Okay, you guys going at it. All right, let's move on here, guys. Let's keep pumping. Let's look at the Rams stuff. Davante Adams. The Rams have had nothing like Davante Adams in the McSnead era. In fact, I don't know, and I'll take correction, if the Rams have had a receiver like Davante Adams since the Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt years, the greatest show on turf era. Seriously. When we look at the McSnead era, 2017 forward, right, when we came out of the dark ages, you got Robert Woods that progresses to Cooper Kupp, to Puka Nacua, who are all similar type players, right? They play that physical game, good hands, good route runners. They block, they do all that things, very similar in style. Davante Adams is completely different, cut from a different jib there. He's just completely different. And paired with Nacua, Adams and Nacua, they're off the charts. This is legit. This is serious business. And as long, again, knock on Formica, injuries we know play a part of everything. This makes the Rams offense just absolutely a nightmare. Now, if you think their offense is a nightmare, the Rams accrued 16 sacks in 2 playoff games last January. 9, I think, against Minnesota, 7 against the Eagles. 16 sacks, right? And those guys are young, and those guys are going to be back. And then guess what? Jared Verse is going to be better. Byron Young is going to be better. Braden Fisk will play probably in those games, right? Braden Fisk played in the Minnesota game, but he was injured, 3 snaps in to the Eagles game, and the Rams still registered 7 sacks, right? And then you bring in a run stuffer, freeing up maybe a little bit more for the conductor. This is exciting. This is really, really exciting. On paper, the Rams can bang with the Eagles. They really can. I think they can. Jimmy G is back. I know Tim Burns mentioned that just a second ago. G was initially reported as being signed at 11 Rocks, and that one just didn't seem right. It seemed hard to believe they would give 11 to a backup, but details released later today, and I understand it. It was a frenzy today. It was like blood in the water for a bunch of sharks. The details showed it was a 4.5 guaranteed contract with 9 rocks of incentives. I think that's a sweet deal. Garoppolo is a Super Bowl quarterback. He has gone to the Super Bowl. He's not at Stafford's level, but he certainly isn't Blake Bortles. And if Stafford turned an ankle, maybe if his ribs are sore for a couple of weeks, Jimmy G can easily fill in for 2 to 3 weeks. And you give him these kind of weapons, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, offensive line, and these receivers, and then we're going to see what they're going to do at tight end. And even if they don't do anything at tight end, right? Tyler Higbee, if he's healthy, is good, and Davis Allen can catch the ball. And I think we're going to see if he stays with the team and doesn't get cut, we're going to see a better version of Colby Parkinson. So Jimmy G was the Rams saying, we're not going to let an injury to Stafford blow this sucker up, right? And it was a smart deal. It's a 1-year deal. Garoppolo's options stay open. If he comes in and has a Nick Foles moment, right? If he comes in and has a Jeff Hostetler moment and ends up winning a Super Bowl, somebody out there is going to give him an oversized contract, and good for him. And the Rams will get a draft compensation for him, right? They'll get a compensatory pick. Hunter Long is gone, signed with the Jaguars, 2 years, 6 rocks. So that's where he's going. Johnny Munt, former Ram tight end, leaves Minnesota, where Kevin O'Connell was, former Ram assistant, and now has gone to Jacksonville, where guess what? Johnny Munt is going to be playing for Liam Cohen, former Rams assistant, James Gladstone, former Rams executive, now the GM. So you see some symmetry there. Bobby Brown agreed to a 3-year, 21 rock deal with incentives to go more to 25 or 27 with the Panthers. So good for him. We saw Poona Ford, 3 years for the Rams, 29.6. Can somebody find out, because everything was happening so fast, can somebody let me know, did Poona, what's the guarantee for Poona Ford? What's the guaranteed money? It could be basically a 2-year, 2-year, $18, $19 million contract. I'm just kind of curious what the guaranteed money is for him. He had 5 years with the Seahawks, undrafted free agent out of Texas, right? And I'm going to guess his height had something to do with him not being drafted. Made that brief stop in Buffalo 2 years ago, and then had his best season with the Chargers. And I honestly thought, man, I didn't even think he would get out of that side of SoFi to come to the other side, but it's Spanos, right? I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, anyway, they also note on the Chargers, Josh Palmer left. So they haven't brought anybody into the room in free agency so far. They haven't brought anybody into the room for Justin Herbert to throw to. And yet they let Josh Palmer, who's not great, but Josh Palmer's a competent receiver. Buffalo thought so. He signed with Buffalo. Curious. Getting back to Poona Ford, I still don't think the Rams are done there. I think somewhere in this draft, they're going to draft a wide body. And then, of course, my note here was, what's left? Michael Hoyt, if Michael Hoyt leaves. Well, Michael Hoyt left. In 2023, the Rams invested in Nick Hampton. In 2024, they spent same draft pick on Brennan Jackson. And so I just wouldn't be surprised if the Rams invested in another edge player, right? One reason is depth. The second reason, I know this sounds really bad, but it's something to think about. I'm not trying to go doom and gloom on you, but we've only got 2 years left with Byron Young on his rookie contract, right? And when that time comes around, they're probably going to have to pay Verse. And I don't think we're going to keep them both as bookends. We know Verse is better. And I don't want to lose Byron Young, but you better be developing something in the pipeline. And speaking of depth, I made a note here. What about Von Miller? What about Von Miller coming back in and for peanuts to maybe chase another ring? Wouldn't that be marvelous for him? All right, let's keep on rocking here. Let's see. Mark Reber. Hey, dude, I am stoked. I'm stoked too, man. Joe T has clone fights now. You have made it. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. I appreciate that. Willie Bowen, LA Rams are Lombardi winners. I hope so. Tim Burns, 3 years, 17 rocks. Is that the Poona Ford deal? Guaranteed. I hope that's the Poona Ford deal. That's incredible if that's the Poona Ford deal. Samuel Ansley, howdy, Joe. Rams filling holes, big upgrade at wide receiver and defensive tackle. Yep. All right, Steve Ramirez confirming also 3 years, 30 million, 17 guaranteed. Whoa, that's a sweet deal. That's a really, really sweet deal. I think I'm curious to know what Bobby Brown's guarantees were, because 3 years, 21 with incentives to go to 27. I'm wondering if his base is 21. Is he getting 21 guaranteed? If so, Poona's cheaper. I'm not sure about that, though. Michael Negretti, the Rams defense is going to be chasing around Darnold just like Wilson and Gino. Welcome to the NFC West. Yeah, you'd figure Darnold would be shell-shocked after that playoff game against the Rams. And, Minnesota had a better offensive line, right? And they had Darrisaw, who was out. We know that. But we saw what Jared Verse did to Cross, their left tackle, considered one of the better tackles in the league. And the rest of their offensive line, the interior of their offensive line has been horrid for years, right? Abraham Lucas never has really developed beyond his rookie year. We'll see. But yeah, I hope Sam Darnold has his running shoes on, because the sacks that Young, Verse, Fisk, and all those guys missed the first 4 weeks of last season that they started making at the end of last season, they're going to be doing that from the get-go. It's USA Expat, still PO'd. We are traveling to Australia next year. Yes, me too. I don't like it at all. Manny says hi to Willie. Do you think the Rams re-sign Von Miller? Do not know, but I've thrown it out there, right? I've thrown it out there. That would be a neat reunion for a year, right? We're going to need a depth piece. You need a depth piece. And Hoyt ate up a lot of snaps. Hoyt was also a very versatile, played with his hand in the turf a lot, stood up in the box. He did a lot of stuff there for the Rams. And again, it's a bummer because he could also get to the quarterback. Glad he got his dough. Coleman Shelton back in the fold. Great insurance move because he can also play guard. Just keep an eye on that. I don't want him to be the starting center. If he's the starting center, that means we've lost faith in Bo Limmer, right? And Shelton's just not that guy. He's good enough, but he's just, yeah, we know what he is. All right, let's keep rolling here. Look at just stuff going around the NFL. The Myles Garrett deal really surprised me. I thought the guy wanted to win. He took 40 rocks a year to stay in Cleveland. I'm glad the guy's got his money, but taking that kind of money in Cleveland that's already spent that kind of money on a quarterback who's never going to play for them again, I don't get it. And I don't get why Cleveland would do it. Cleveland should have traded him. Cleveland's not really thinking about anything, but just, I don't know what Cleveland's thinking about. And I know other people are saying, oh no, you don't get a generational guy like Myles Garrett. You've had Myles Garrett for what, 8 seasons now? 7, 8 seasons. He's going to be 29. You haven't done anything with him yet. A playoff appearance. What else is there? 2 playoff appearances. He's not enough to get you over the top. But Myles Garrett traded away could possibly bring you some pieces, maybe some younger pieces, maybe some draft capital that allows you to build from the ground up until you get out from under these ridiculous contracts. Now, I 2 things surprised me. One, the Browns extended him with that kind of money, and 2, that Myles Garrett, I thought he wanted to win, because you have to know, at the age of 29, almost a decade in Cleveland, unless Sonny Weaver becomes the GM, right? Unless Sonny Weaver becomes the GM, you're not winning. You're just not winning. And so, if they go to the Super Bowl next year, I'll be wrong, but do you expect the Browns to even get out of the AFC West, AFC Central or North? Yeah, I don't think you either. All these things popped in. So I'm reading off the teams the Rams aren't playing on their schedule, and then we'll get to those teams. Aaron Jones staying with the Minnesota Vikings, a smart move. The Vikings, good move for him. Bills extend Josh Allen 6 years, $330 million. Now the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, player. They re-signed Greg Rousseau, edge guy. That was a smart move. Chiefs bring back Hollywood Brown. I didn't know if that was going to happen, but that was kind of a smart move on their part, because here's the other thing. Xavier Worthy's not being charged, but this is just another case of Xavier Worthy. Bad company, wrong place, wrong time. The dude's cruising for a major bruising, and the Chiefs just always seem to nail it with those receivers. I think it was smart to bring Hollywood Brown back. They re-signed Nick Bolton, and they signed, he was out this whole year, but he's a pretty good back, Elijah Mitchell from the 49ers. Chargers re-signed Khalil Mack. They lost Jordan Palmer. Of course, they put Joey Bosa in the street. And then what, right? What have the Chargers done? I'll take an open question for the Chargers fans. Patriots, a team that really is looking at, to me, this is where I got the idea. They looked at the draft and said, we got draft capital, we got money, let's spend the money. They signed former Tennessee Titan Harold Landry, pretty versatile dude. They signed Morgan Moses. They signed cornerback Carlton Davis, who was playing really well with Lions last year before he got hurt. They signed Milton Williams. I always blow this guy's name because I want to say Jimmy Spillane from UCLA. They signed Spillane, the linebacker, and I'm blanking right now on his first name. So they made moves, and a lot of projections had them taking. If Morgan Moses is a right tackle, some projections had them taking a left tackle, Will Campbell, out of LSU with the 4th overall pick. I really think they should get a weapon for Drake May, or maybe trade back and get a couple of weapons if they can find a suitor. Seahawks, the Rams are playing the Seahawks. They re-signed Jaron Reed and Ernest Jones. They're keeping Ernest Jones. They gave him a 3-year contract. Vikings have signed cornerback Isaiah Rodgers. He is the one that had that outstanding, I think it was 2022 season with the Colts. And then in 2023, he got popped for gambling. I think he was gambling inside the building and it was suspended. Eagles picked him up. He won a ring with the Eagles, and now he signs with the Vikings. Bears signed Falcons center Drew Dahlman, 3 years, 42 rocks. This goes with Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. So they're really securing that middle. Keep an eye on the Bears. It's pretty interesting. Steelers signed 34-year-old Darius Slay. I don't know what Steeler fan Rob has to say about that. 34-year-old Darius Slay. Okay, all right. They also got DK Metcalf, which was a better move. I think I'd find a way to move off George Pickens. Cowboys signed former Bronco running back Javonte Williams, who's had moments in this league. Jets reunite Justin Fields with Garrett Wilson, 2 for $40. I don't know how much is guaranteed. I think $30 is guaranteed. I'm sorry, guys. Justin Fields is he's a guy. I know everyone wants him to be more, but he's a guy. Dolphins signed Zach Wilson, who left the Broncos, and I think Zach Wilson has some tread on his tires. I think there's still a possibility for Zach Wilson. And since we were talking toilet cloggers, this guy had been circled since the trade deadline last year. The Browns designate defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson as a post-June 1 release. In terms of the division, in terms of who the Rams are playing, we've got right now, they're playing the Saints, and their reports are that Chris Olave is on the market. Olave's had a lot of concussions. He's going full Altoon in this league, and I don't know how long he's going to last. Linked to the Chargers in some cases here. Buccaneers re-signed Chris Godwin, good move, and they signed Hassan Reddick, and they're really keeping it steady there in Tampa Bay. So they're a team you can't sleep on. Texans traded for Christian Kirk, and then I saw this just before I come on the air, so you guys correct me if I'm wrong. The Texans are trading Laramie Tunsil to the Taxkins for a package of picks. That is a great move for the Taxkins, depending on how much Tunsil has left. And the Texans really struggled offensive line last year, so I'm curious about that one. Colts signed former 49er Charvarius Ward. Lions signed. These are Ram opponents. Texans, Taxkins, Colts, Lions. The Lions signed DJ Reed, former Jet. That's a good move for them. Panthers retained J.C. Horn, who kind of salvaged his career. Falcons lost center Drew Dalman. They also put Grady Jarrett in the street. I mentioned who the Jaguars signed a minute ago in terms of Johnny Munt and those guys, former Rams and everything. Titans lost Harold Landry. Eagles lost Milton Williams, Isaiah Rodgers. They also traded Kenny Pickett to the Browns for DTR. And, of course, we know they re-signed Saquon for a big deal and Zach Ron. And Ravens brought back Ronnie Stanley. Within the division, the Cardinals signed Evan Brown, who was actually an interior lineman with the Seahawks. He sucks. He's not any good. And they brought back Baron Browning, low-level signing on the edge. Their big signing was Josh Sweat. Signed him away from the Eagles to come back and play for his former DC, Jonathan Gannon. And so that's another slight hit the Eagles are taking, although there's a lot of depth there. 49ers, we haven't talked about them for a while, but Charvarius Ward is gone. Dre Greenlaw's gone. Aaron Banks signed with the Packers. Tashawn Gibson's gone. Telianoa Hufanga is out there in free agency, and people are looking for him. Hargrave's going to be a post-June 1st release, and John Feliciano retired. Debo Samuel was traded for a 5th-round pick, and there was rumors that Brandon Ayuk was on the market after signing that monster contract, and the steadiest guy they got there in the wide receiver room is DeJuan Jennings. And George Kittle, who had a great year last year, but George Kittle takes a lot of hits. And then we're going to trust that Christian McCaffrey is going to come back and be healthy? I don't know. And now there's the whole deal with Brock Purdy, right? No, the whole deal with Brock Purdy. I think Frisco is, starting to fade. Seattle, they've made a lot of moves. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and are gone. Tyler Lockett released. And they've re-signed Ernest Jones, Jaron Reed, and they've picked up Sam Darnold, which, again, I like Sam Darnold a little bit better than Geno Smith. But honestly, at this point, is there anything about Sam Darnold as a Ram fan that scares you, right? Geno Smith goes to Las Vegas. I think it is a good deal for Smith. I think the Raiders have a better offensive line. He knows Pete Carroll. He buys the organization some time to build credibility. Geno Smith has had 3 consecutive winning seasons in Seattle. I think what did they go? 9-7, 10-7, or 9-8, 9-8, 10-7, something like that. Someone check that for me if I'm wrong. That was a good move for Geno Smith. Chargers cut Gus Edwards. We mentioned that Falcons released Grady Jarrett. Free agency technically starts on Wednesday. And then, of course, it's the next phase after that is all the fallout coming up. March 30th, the league meetings. That's when they tell you that they're going to cancel punt returns because it offends somebody in Iceland. They'll figure that out. And then let's see, July 24th, that's when all the draft picks are made. There we go. All right, cool. We got that in there. But we banged out a lot of stuff ahead of time there. Most of this draft stuff now, to me, feels moot. It just does. You're going to have to come up with new draft boards. You're going to have to come up with different scenarios there. I think, unless they really think they can get a bead, I think Tyler Warren's going to be gone. And then there's this business of Rams haven't drafted a tight end in the first round since 1969. And everyone is sketchy about drafting a tight end in the first round. I think we did a breakdown on that, what it means to draft a tight end in the first round. And these guys, it's a real gamble. And odds might be better in Vegas than drafting a tight end in the first round. But Colston Loveland is somebody that's climbed the boards. I don't think they'll get to Tyler Warren, but can the Rams beat the Chargers to to Colston Loveland? So again, those are the things to think about. If not, I would trade back. Get into the mid-30s, get to the mid-40s, pick up another pick, add those depth pieces. You might find your right tackle of the future somewhere between, whatever you get after the first round, between 90 and 100, right? You might find your right tackle of the future. Something to think about. Let's see here. Manny Correa going after Tyler Batty, BYU, late round. Okay. Billy Bowen, cut me, go to the Chargers. Okay, say you're a Charger fan right now. You lost Jordan Palmer, right? You're stuck with Quentin Johnson. I've heard a rumor about Mike Williams coming back. There's a rumor about Chris Olave, who struggles with concussion issues right now. Isn't McConkey the same player as Cooper Kupp, except younger, healthier, and faster? And Kupp is not McConkey. Kupp couldn't get open with the Rams with Puka Nacua on the other side. Maybe if he's free, this is why the Rams can't trade him. I'd be stunned if the Rams trade him, but he's lost a gear, and he just really, I hate to say it, it's just, I don't think he's a good fit for the Chargers. I think he's a really bad fit for the Chargers. I think he's a better fit for Drake May in New England. I think he's a better fit for some young quarterback somewhere that just needs some help. He's probably a better fit in Carolina for Bryce Young. He's probably a better fit for somebody that's just a safety blanket, maybe Michael Penix. I don't know, but he just, if you're expecting him to bring balance to the Chargers, I just don't see it. Tim Burns, who does the most slot work? Adams, 49% of the slot last year. Puka is getting beat up in there. I think receivers at that level, and I'll take correction. I think receivers at that level, you got to play everywhere, right? Remember what the line was. Justin Jefferson asked Kevin O'Connell, I think it was Kevin O'Connell, when he got to Minnesota, he says, how did Cooper Kupp always get so wide open, right? And O'Connell said, learn how to run every route. And I think there are certain things that that are there. I think there are certain things that are there that Devontae Adams has, the Rams like, or they wouldn't have reached out to him. He's not just going to be some guy who just runs downfield trying to catch bombs, right? I think there's a lot of stuff. And again, think about, somewhat because LaFleur was in Green Bay, and that's where, Adams spent the bulk of his career. LaFleur, McVay, there's some familiarity, probably in terminology, familiarity and philosophy. And so I think Adams is going to fit right in, and I think they could probably put him anywhere. Michael Negretti, what's the next big move for the Rams? The draft. Willie Bowen, what if the Rams sign Joey Bosa? I'm not in on Joey Bosa. He's never healthy. If the Rams signed him just to play on third down, he'd play like, 1/3 of the third down snaps. I'm not in on Joey Bosa. Neither is Manny Correa, but he is in on right tackle Ozzie Trapillo. Okay. Trade back with Jacksonville. Yeah, some kind of trade back fits the bill here. Tim Burns, Rodgers to Metcalf would be scary, kind of Rodgers to Adams vibe. I know Steeler fan Rob was telling us both today the Steelers offensive line is better than they think. It's going to get healthy this year. It just hasn't been any good at all. And I don't know. If I'm the Steelers, man, I'm trying to find a way to make sure that offensive line is built up, right? That's all. And my whole thing's the offensive line, whatever I do, if you're going to bring in Aaron Rodgers. Let's see. Manny Correa, Joe, Tim, check out linebacker Matt Slopik, Miami of Ohio. Tim Byrne, got a question Pittsburgh's quarterback shuffling by saying they were looking at Darnold. They gave Fields the no confidence vote. They are running low on options. Yeah, but again, I think they saw, they benched Fields while the team was winning, but the team was winning because it's the team and it's that defense. But man, did you see Justin Fields against the Cowboys? Was that a Sunday night game or a Monday night game just before he got benched? It was brutal. It was the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys. Let's see. With everything, let's see. No, I'm sorry. Joe and Tim, what do you think about Teddy Buchanan? I've not seen him. Cal linebacker. I'd have to go work on that one, man. Send it to me in an email. Tim Burns, with everything that has gone on, I still say wide receiver at 26 this year. Fastest guy in the draft is mock drafting down to us. Oh, really? Where's the room, right? I guess 1 year, right? 1 year. I guess that's all we're talking about. You better be right. That's all I'm telling you, Mr. Burns. We take a receiver at 26. It better be a home run. All right. It better be a home run or I'm going to be a bitter person here. Let's see. Mike Negretti. We need cornerback and a linebacker. We got a cornerback. His name's Emmanuel Forbes. No one's talking about him. And when he has a great year next year, gets a big pick 6, you're all going to say, dang, that Joe, man, that guy on RamView, he called it on Emmanuel Forbes. At least I'm hoping, because if that happens, I'm going to be so brutal to live with that you guys are all going to leave my show and go back to Locked On something, right? Linebacker, I'm up for drafting a linebacker in the 4th round, but we know what the Rams do. They've gone UDFAs for the last half decade or more, undrafted free agents. Manny Correa, I think we will trade back. Okay, they will trade back. Steve Ramirez, could Golden be another Stephen Hill? Just thinking out loud. Okay, Steve Ramirez is throwing some stuff in the pot there. Willie Bowen, LA Rams should draft Eric Gentry, linebacker from USC. Did Gentry declare? I thought he went to the portal. Someone help me with that one. No to Bozo. Okay, it's Michael Negretti. Tim Burns, linebackers, curl, dig routes are an Adams specialty and used heavy in McVay land. This is a good mix. Yeah, and he can go to the house, right? He can go to the house. Hey, I'm going to go through this date in Rams history real quick. And what I need you guys...
It was a stone group, my man.
So when I go through this, why don't you guys tell me which team is looking best to you right now? I think the Patriots are improved. I think the Bears are improved. There's a lot of good things happening out there. I'm kind of curious about the Cowboys and the Chargers. I'm just not getting it. Okay, March 10th, 1998. Rams signed punter Rick Tootin. He kicks for the Rams in 98, and then 8 weeks into 1999, he goes on the IR. The Rams re-sign 40-year-old Mike Horan. He punts 26 times, 9 times in the playoffs because he's playing for the greatest show on turf. And after 3 Super Bowl losses with the Broncos in the 80s, he wins a Super Bowl at the end of his career at the Rams. In fact, I think if you see a post-game speech with Dick Vermeil after the Super Bowl, Mike Horan has got some kind of handheld camcorder, and it's like he can't believe his luck, right? 40 years old, kicks 26 times, and now he's on the roster of the greatest show on turf. I thought that was pretty amazing. 2008, on this day, Rams re-signed Trent Green. 2009, on this day, Rams released Orlando Pace. Did anyone lament over Orlando Pace the way they have Cooper Kupp? I know that was in St. Louis. Let's see. You might remember some of these names. This date in 2014, the Rams released offensive lineman Harvey Dahl. 2015, they released center Scott Wells. 2017, they released Trey Mason. If you remember Trey Mason, I think it was in 2014. He had out of Auburn. He had a nice little 700, 800-yard year for the Rams. Looked like the Rams' position was set there at running back, fairly competent guy. And then they drafted Todd Gurley, and then Mason disappeared. He just disappeared, never came back. And they said there were some mental illness issues. On this day in 2023, the Rams released Leonard Floyd. And, Orlando Pace, Leonard Floyd, Super Bowl kind of guys. It just happens, right? It's a bummer. And then tomorrow, since we're not on the air, it's important to mention 3 great Rams have died on March 11th. On March 11th, 2010, Merlin Olsen passed away. March 11th, 2019, Willie Ellison passed away. And then March 11, 2020, a guy that's forgotten, but you should remember the name, receiver Del Schaffner passed away at the age of 85. There you go. All right. Getting back to the top there, Rams essentially have 2 number 1 receivers with the addition of Devontae Adams. Like I said, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua are all cut from the same mold. Adams is cut differently. This will be unlike any pairing we've seen in the McSnead era. Rams have 6 wide. Usually they brought 6 wide receivers last year out of camp. Adams and Atwell being signed really kind of shuts the door on DeMarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson. So Rams wide receiver room, I posted this at Mid-Valley Sports earlier today. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Jordan Whittington, Tutu Atwell, Drake Stoops, Xavier Smith, who got playing time last year. Drake Stoops, practice squad guy, but impressed. And then a dude named Quintez Cephas, who was a 5th-round pick of the Lions in 2020, spent 3 years there, didn't play in 2023, got cut, and was signed by the Rams to the practice squad. And I'm always fascinated when the Rams extend a futures contract to a certain player. To me, it always says they think there might be something in him. Now, I haven't seen Quintez Cephas do anything. I don't know anything inside scoop, but I would just keep my eye on him, right? And if you look at this Rams depth chart in the wide receiver room, Puka Nacua, 5th round, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell were 2nd rounds, Jordan Whittington, 6th round, Quintez Cephas by the Lions in 2020 was a 5th rounder, Drake Stoops and Xavier Smith were undrafted free agents. And it's awesome when you see your team score in that venue there. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Willie Bowen, LA is impressive. LA Rams should draft Kane Madrano, linebacker out of UCLA. Okay. All right. Hey guys, we're coming up to the 50-minute mark. We got out all of our information. We got everything out there. Huge day. And I think we're going to find out more stuff tomorrow. I do not think the Rams will make another move. I mean, it could be wrong. I don't know how much money they've got left. The great news, I do love the Poona Ford signing. And I do love, Devontae Adams coming in. I am very sad about Michael Hoyt because I really did like Michael Hoyt. I think we've all cried our tears for Cooper Kupp. So not that we're disrespecting Cooper Kupp, but that's the brutalness of the business, right? That's just it, right? That's the brutalness of the business, right? I learned football was unfair in Super Bowl 7. And you're going to say, what was it? I'm watching the Super Bowl. It's my first Super Bowl. I'm watching the whole game. And Kilmer is going to the back of the end zone. I don't know if it was Jerry Smith or if it was Charlie Taylor. I think it was Jerry Smith, the tight end. And Kilmer throws the pass, and it hits the goalpost. Saw it happen, right? Saw it happen. Saw a moment later Jake Scott get the pick. And it was like, that is completely unfair. It's just not right. But that's the thing about football. That's why football, even if you don't play in the NFL or college ball, that's why football is such a great thing in this country. Football teaches you so much about life that the unfair is going to happen. And sometimes you just have to grind it, pick it up, wipe yourself off, and keep going. And it's something that our culture needs, because a lot of kids now, a lot of young men, they do not know how to grind. They do not know how to get punched in the nose and deal with it. I mean, has any of you ever had life say, oh, you're having a hard time, I'll back off on you? No, it doubles down, right? It's blitzing you up the middle, and then it'll blitz you from the flank, right? And so you just have to find a grit to keep going forward, right? And wow, I gave a Tony Robbins talk here at the end of the show. Sorry about that. We got to 50 minutes. Okay. No, I saw it. It was on the TV, man. I saw Super Bowl 7. I don't know. I saw it, I think, on NBC. I did, Steve. I don't know where it was blacked out, but I saw that game. It was the first game I ever saw NFL all the way through from start to finish, because I picked up the Rams in the back half of 72. I saw it. Now, did I see it an hour after it began or later in the day? I don't know, but I saw that Super Bowl. I saw it because Larry Brown got the snot beat out of him. Yeah, I did. I did see Super Bowl 7. I will. That was between me and the Lord going to heaven. I'd have to be honest and say I saw Super Bowl 7. So there you go. All right, guys, you're awesome. Numbers picking up again. I got to go and everything, but we will keep trucking. Thank you for the stuff. I'm going to drop my email in here. You guys, if you have content that you want to send me, Manny, you're one of them. Please feel free to send it to me. Be sure to check us out on Spotify from the RamCave. Not doing too good on Spotify. Also, be sure to look at my book, Game Day in the RamCave. You need a Ram fix. Read Game Day in the RamCave, fictional NFC championship game between the Rams and the Packers. Check it out. A lot of you have. I do so appreciate it. Also, check out Kistler Law. And all these things keep me employed in my day job at Burbank Faith. And we are right here on YouTube with Burbank Faith Virtual channel, as well as BurbankFaithVirtual.com, Burbank Faith Virtual all across social media. There you go. All right. God bless. Take care. And we knew it before today. Now the rest of the KVM's picking up on it. Rams are Super Bowl contenders.